Have you ever seen 200 wedding guests go completely silent at the same time? I sat at the head table with my best friend Roger, sitting next to me and his new bride Elaine on his other side. I glanced at the crowd of 200 guests, fists clenched around my silverware. Everyone was so happy. No one had a clue that things were about to change, that I had a voicemail in my pocket that would ruin my best friend's relationship. I spotted my ex-fiancée, Diane, in the crowd sitting at a table a few rows away from us. She was the cousin of Elaine's best friend and an absolute snake. I forced my gaze away from her and flinched when the DJ suddenly cut the slow music off. And now for the toasts, he announced joyfully. A few words from the best man. I stood up and cleared my throat as the crowd erupted into applause. Roger clapped me on the back and grinned widely from ear to ear. I had to force myself not to shiver in disgust at his touch. I had a whole speech I wrote up a few days ago, I began solemnly. I noticed a few odd glances from people in the crowd who knew me well. They were probably wondering why I sounded so sad. It was time for me to ruin my best friend's life. For context, I met Roger in college about 10 years ago. We hit it off immediately. I was there for him through all the good and bad times, when he aced his classes and we went out to celebrate, when his dad died and he cried on my shoulder, when he had his first heartbreak, and when he met Elaine and declared she was the love of his life. I was there for it all. Roger is the one who introduced me to Diane. She was a grade below us and hung out with our group, but I never noticed her until we went to a party that Elaine's best friend put on. Diane was there and Roger introduced us. He said she would be perfect for me and I agreed after we went on a few dates. She was smart, beautiful, funny, and definitely my type. I fell in love with her and was going to propose last month. Roger helped me pick out the ring and everything, but then I got a voicemail at 2 o'clock in the morning one night that changed everything. Roger must have butt dialed me because the voicemail was of him talking to his brother, laughing and joking, but what he said made my blood run cold. He doesn't even know. He's so clueless. I've been sleeping with her for 8 months and the idiot has no clue. Then he cackled like a hyena as tears filled my eyes and my heart shattered. I was humiliated and heartbroken. It was obvious he was drunk in the voicemail, but that didn't matter. 8 months of him helping me plan a wedding that I knew Diane would love, helping me pick out the ring to propose to her, securing a deposit on the wedding venue that Diane absolutely loved, booking her favorite band for the wedding, finding flowers I knew she'd love, and then he threw away 10 years of friendship for what? Anger filled me, and I knew exactly what I was going to do. As I stared out at the crowd, I didn't feel any remorse for what I was about to do. I pulled out my phone. I received this voicemail at 2 o'clock in the morning. I continued. I want to play it for you. Roger was still grinning at me like a fool as I pressed play on my phone and held it up to the microphone. His grin slid off his face as the voicemail played loudly for everyone to hear. Redness crept up his neck to his cheeks as he glared at me. Diane's chair screeched as she stood and stormed out of the building. Elaine was completely silent and pale as she stared at her new husband with wide eyes. Then the voicemail stopped and silence fell. It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Elaine stood calmly. Who is she? She demanded. I answered for Roger. My fiancé, I said. Or she would have been my fiancé if Roger hadn't done what he did. Elaine shook her head in disgust, tore off her wedding ring and threw it at Roger's head before stomping out of the building. I turned to leave, but Roger grabbed my arm in a tight grip. 10 years of friendship, he hissed. Over, just like that, because of you. I shook myself free from his grip. No, because of you, I snarled. 8 months ago. Then I followed Elaine out of the building. My phone started blowing up with messages from Elaine, Diane, and Roger. I blocked Diane and Roger, but answered Elaine. A week later, Elaine and I were getting coffee together.